You ready to see what's going on in the news? Me too. Let's watch some news. Welcome to the Derek O'Shea Show, where we discuss culture, news, politics, and more. Sit back, relax, and I hope you enjoy the show. Be sure to tell your friends and family about the revolution. What's up, everyone? Good morning on this lovely Friday morning. We made it. End of the week. We did it. Let's catch up on the news, see what's going on YouTube's hot news takes.
Vaccinations are at the center of the Biden administration's strategy to end the pandemic. To that end, the White House made January 4th the deadline for larger companies to get their workers vaccinated or implement weekly testing. It could affect 84 million workers, nearly three-quarters of America's workforce. Some Republican governors have already threatened to sue over the measure. Ed O'Keefe has been following this for us at the White House. Ed, good morning.
Hey,
Ed.
Good
morning to you, Nate. Happy Friday. The potential legal blowback is mounting despite recent polling that shows most Americans support these kind of mandates, and the White House is defending the...
You know what? This whole most Americans support this. I just don't buy it. I don't. Wait, where's your poll? In New York, D.C., L.A.? Is that where your poll is? Where most Americans are supporting this? I don't buy it. Do you buy it? Let me know. These newscasters just say these things. And I'm just like, what poll? Are you going to reference the poll at all to me? Are you going to tell me where that poll is from? Are you going to tell me the demographic and the people that took the poll? Like, you're not going to do any of that, are you? So I just don't.
The new rule saying it's just all about keeping American workers safe. As mandates continue to be a flashpoint across the country, the Labor Department Thursday announced it's implementing a new vaccination rule, requiring companies with 100 or more employees to get their workers fully vaccinated by January 4th, or test them for COVID-19 at least once a week. Fines for not complying could reach nearly $14,000 per worker per violation.
We know that vaccines absolutely save lives, and we know that mandates work.
With cases rising or holding steady in at least 27 states, the White House says the
forcing people to do stuff works. God, I hate that they could just say that stupid crap. It just works. It works. If everyone's forced to do it and they do it, it's working.
Mandate is about maximizing compliance.
How confident is the White House these will hold up in court with a lot of GOP states?
Oh, we're confident.
So we're pretty confident. The administration clearly has the authority to protect workers.
On Capitol Hill, some senators said more mandates are not the answer.
It's probably the most frightening ultimatum that businesses have had to contend with.
It's essentially an unfunded mandate.
Kevin Grigg is an engineering and consulting firm CEO based in Connecticut.
I think it's going to take months for all of us to figure out exactly how this is going to work. And during that period of time, at least, we're going to have a lot of sunken costs.
Some other business leaders say they're going to wait to see how this all plays out in the courts. But some of the nation's biggest labor unions and business groups like the U.S. Chamber of Commerce are endorsing the new mandates, and private companies are taking their own steps. The Ford Motor Company, for example, says all of its 32,000 U.S. workers have to be vaccinated by December 8th.
Or else.
Tony?
All right,
Tony.
Ed, thank you very much.
Tony Baloney. Wait, I don't want you to play that. This one.
The latest version of the Democrats' Build Back Better plan. This is Build Back Better 9.0. And wait a minute, no, maybe 10.0. Anyway, has new rules on retirement plans for the wealthy. A vote on the bill could come as early today. Ilan Mui joins us now. It's the iPhone 13. I don't think we're there, but we're close.
We are getting closer, Joe. After months of delay and internal debate, Democrats are finally set to advance President Biden's economic agenda through the House today. Now, members will convene in about half an hour to start the procedural motions, and leadership believes they have the votes to pass both the infrastructure bill and that bigger social spending package after negotiating until nearly midnight last night. Now, two of the big outstanding issues were the cost and the cap on
I don't know
state and
how
local
those
tax
old people do
deductions.
it.
The Treasury Department is projecting that the social spending plan will generate about $2.2 trillion in new revenue.
$2.2 trillion. Thanks, Republicans. You guys are all fiscally conservative.
And reduce the deficit in the long run. Now, that includes those changes to retirement plans for the rich. The bill prohibits contributions to an IRA worth more than $10 million and requires disbursements from accounts above that threshold as well. The new rules would take effect in 2029 and are projected to raise about $7 billion. But there is no official CBO estimate of the cost of this package yet, and that is giving moderates a little bit of heartburn heading into this vote. Now, as for SALT, the House settled on lifting the cap on deductions to $80,000 through 2030. It then goes back down to $10,000 in 2031, and then it expires altogether after that. Now, remember, even if the House passes this package today, it does still need to clear the Senate. The new deadline for that is now Thanksgiving. But the infrastructure bill has already passed the Senate. So, Joe, once the House votes, it can go to the president's desk for his signature and give him that win he's been waiting for. Back over to you.
Wow, that's maybe that really will happen. I thought if that didn't happen, we'd have one pass the Senate and the other one pass the House, and they'd be like neither one of them would be ready, right? To
go like a seesaw.
Yeah, neither one would be ready to go to the president. Do you think the likelihood is high now that the intra-party factions, because the moderates were pretty far away from the far left in the House. That caucus might as well be two different parties.
Well, that's what these late-night negotiations were all about, Joe. And Pelosi has repeatedly said that she will not bring this bill to the floor for a vote unless she knows she has the votes. We've seen her punt it multiple times. The fact that they are actually finally, maybe really planning to do it today says a lot.
We'll see. All right, next. Opening statements for Aubrey expected. All right, let's see what's going on.
Dollars in the first half of this year alone. Popularity has its price. We'll tell you about the production crunch that's muddling the medium. Plus, on the airwaves, Swedish songwriting savants ABBA releasing their first album in 40 years. We're going to take a closer look at their highly anticipated comeback to critical acclaim.
I like that Swedish songwriting
savants of the Swedish supergroup. Yeah. Exactly. More on ABBA and disco and records in a little bit. Fun. We do want to begin, though, with that breaking news overnight. Promising new results from a clinical trial of Pfizer's antiviral COVID pill.
Yeah, this comes as backlash mounts from the Biden administration's latest COVID vaccine mandate that will impact millions in the U.S. workforce.
It's not that they want to make more money.
NBC News correspondent Gabe Gutierrez has the latest on the pandemic this morning.
Jeez.
Savannah and Joe, good morning. The rush is on to vaccinate younger children ages 5 to 11 and mobile vaccination sites like this one. But overnight, multiple developments on several fronts regarding COVID. More states now say they're planning to sue the Biden administration over a sweeping COVID vaccine mandate for many private employers. And now, some encouraging news about a possible COVID treatment.
This morning, Pfizer says its new antiviral COVID pill, taken within 3 days of symptoms, reduced the risk of hospitalization or death by 89%.
It's called
in high-risk adults compared to a placebo. The company plans to apply for emergency use authorization as soon as possible. Meanwhile, Britain has become the first country to approve another COVID antiviral pill developed by Merck. The FDA will consider that later this month. It all comes as the Biden administration is launching a sweeping COVID vaccine mandate affecting 84 million people, 2/3 of the U.S. workforce. It requires companies with 100 or more employees to...
Okay, now that we have potentially 2 pills to take, will the vaccine mandate still take into effect, and will people take the vaccine seriously? Seriously, genuine question. I'm curious, because it makes no sense to me. If we have 2 different pills that reduce hospitalization rate that high, that's ridiculous. All right. Let's see what's going on in our friends at CBS, because they're
really not enough to be a game changer.
The best.
So what does China's absence signify? And then how do other countries
This girl's green screen is terrible. Look at my green screen compared to her. Get a job.
Well, those are all the right questions. China's not moving fast enough, and so that's part of what the effort was intended to address this week, but clearly they're going to act in their own self-interest. And so the U.S. has
so should we.
To act in its own self-interest. Now, let's be realistic. China is as vulnerable as every other major country to climate effects. It's facing floods, droughts, supply chain disruptions as well. So it's going to act to reduce its climate risk. And that's something that the U.S. needs to take into account.
Added that in there.
And it will move at a slower pace, likely to move off coal. But that's why, as we transform, we will be able to capture, if we're smart about it, some of those clean energy markets that in the last decade, China has become dominant in, particularly in the production of solar panels. So we have to be able to walk and chew gum. We have to compete.
Impossible. And the House is voting. 200 yes. Look at all the Republicans voting yes. God. These people. They just don't get it.
And the only way that you can be able to see that is coming to the ground, drive, and see the people.
Was Yahoo
People
Finance
need to
talking
understand
about?
that this is helping, even if you're a little resistant, it's how we rebuild our economy. And I really applaud these private employers who have taken initiative in all parts of the country, in conservative and progressive parts of the country. I really applaud them for taking that initiative. It's keeping workers safe. I don't want to
do
go
not
to work
applaud
in a
them.
community of 100 people and wonder if I'm the only one vaccinated and should I wear a mask all the time or should I talk to my colleagues?
Well, maybe you should.
Vaccinated and end this.
Well, Jane, isn't that going to hold back the economic recovery from the pandemic? You can have this pool of workers that refuses to get vaccinated. I mean, what happens to this group of people?
Who are these people? He's in his kitchen.
I hope they moderate
He is in
their
his kitchen.
opinion
This is a
because
professional
I think
news
what's
show.
more damaging to
These
the
people.
economy, and we certainly saw it throughout the pandemic, is when entities,
Level up,
businesses
people.
were forced to close. You know, whether it was meat packing or whether it was ports. You know, right now we see these supply chain issues.
You can still
and
get
I'm
COVID if you have the
from LA this
vaccine.
morning, and I can look out at the LA.
See what ABC is talking about.
Kids, so he starts to get cameras. Here's the thing. The other thing Larry English is going to tell you is nothing had ever been stolen from the construction site in 2019 or 2020. Larry English is going to tell you that nothing had ever been stolen from the construction site in 2019 or 2020. What he is going to tell you is that sometime during late October of 2019, sometime November of 2019, he is over at the construction site and he gets on a ladder and he looks down and he sees inside of his boat and he's like, oh, some stuff's missing. Oh my gosh, when did this happen? So some stuff has been stolen out of his boat, and it's expensive stuff. We're talking like $2,500 worth of stuff that's stolen out of his boat. He's upset.
So opening statements for Ahmed Aubrey.
This boat had been back and forth to Douglas because Larry English lives 2 hours away from Satilla Shores. Larry English lives 2 hours away. So one of the reasons he went and got these cameras was he wanted to be able to see what was going on if the kids were on the dock. And these cameras would do motion activated. And they'd come up and they'd do a little 10-second, 30-second video of what the person was doing on his phone 2 hours away. So then, 2 hours away, he'd have to call 911 if someone was on that video. But here's the thing. He's going back and forth to Douglas with this boat. So he doesn't call the police to report this because he doesn't know when his items were stolen.
Okay, I'm bored.
Us following the trends that we're seeing.
If I'm bored, I
in
know
other
you're
parts
bored.
of the world, and I think that this is a very, very stark reminder for those regional pockets of unvaccinated folks in this country. It's not too late.
They're
Please get your
everywhere.
vaccine. We are very likely to see surges like that again. Again, geographic pockets of unvaccinated folks in this country. You know, our decline in cases has kind of leveled off. Or I should say, our.
All right, nothing exciting happening in the news. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of the day. I will have a show coming out a little later, and I appreciate you so much. Have a great day.